Well, how do there, chums? 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and today, chums, for you guys out there in the viewerverse, I've got an ideas video on how settlements could be improved. I mean, I do love the procedural generation of the settlements, and I do like being an overseer of said settlement, but do I feel like I'm actually connected to the people of my settlement? Not overly, not really. Even when you actually pick up a mission to send your NPCs on a mission, can you go with them? No, you can't. So yes, I used to play another iteration that I want to tell you about. And when I say iteration, I mean another game. I used to play White Knight Chronicles 2. And this game is freaking old, yes. They used to have an area called Georama. And inside of the Georama, you was an actual overseer of your town. You could build it out and pick all your NPCs to take residency inside of your town. And the residents that you picked actually done stuff inside of your town. So yes, in a moment I'll be putting up some footage of the Georamas with inside of White Knight Chronicles 2. But yes, so we've got all these lovely stats, but we haven't got much way of actually changing those stats apart from plugging in different sort of boosters. The actual citizens that we have and the skills that the citizens bring to the town don't really bring much sort of variance to any of these stats, whereas in White Knight Chronicles 2 they did. So this is the Georama system with inside of White Knight Chronicles 2, and you can see on here that it's got a very simple sort of tutorial where you can actually choose where you want to place the buildings within inside of your Georama space, and you have what's called pylon, and you had to actually meet the pylon requirements for said buildings and layout of your town. So yeah, this one is procedurally generated with inside of No Man's Sky, but it would be nice if you had procedurally generated buildings, but then you got to place them down. So when you go into your layout and you pick, say, a residence or a sort of a housing building, perhaps it could still procedurally generate you an actual building that you can place down, but it tells you how many residents that building can have, and you get to choose placement of where it is. I mean, I get lost so often inside of my procedurally generated settlement, but if I actually chose the layout of where I wanted everything, perhaps that wouldn't happen, and perhaps I'd feel more kinship and more overseership of said town if I'm choosing where things go. So inside of White Knight Chronicles 2 there was quite a fair few building types that you could place down inside of your Georama. So you could maybe put down a farm building to up your farming requirements, or a mining facility to up your sort of mineral gains, and all of the sorts of shops and buildings that you put down had a sway on what was actually sold within inside of your actual marketplaces inside of your Georama. So if you had mining specialists or farming specialists, it's going to boost those sort of commodities inside of the marketplaces. Now, some of these procedural generated buildings sometimes have some pretty gnarly sort of stuff inside, so I feel that they've already got all the resources they need within inside of Hello Games' studio to place into this verse to make this actually happen relatively easily. I would like to think, yes, it's going to take a heck of a lot of coding, I would imagine, but then it's been done in countless other games, and it's been done countless times better than what we're seeing with inside of No Man's Sky. I mean, what we got in No Man's Sky is sort of automated. Then there's no real sort of overseer element to it. So here we go. Here's the residents, and you can see here different residents have different perks, and they've got different sorts of attributes in what they can do and their abilities. So this guy here likes farming, but he's particularly interested in flowers, and those flowers, you know, that would bring certain commodities into your actual marketplace, you know, healing roses or whatever, because this is a completely different game. This is fantasy rather than sci-fi, but you can apply this sort of thing into No Man's Sky. You don't have to go as deep as what we're seeing here, but each sort of house can house a certain amount of residents. This one, for example, I believe can have 2 residents. So say if you put in Ron and somebody else in here, they might actually work off of each other. If they're both farmers, it might give a certain boost to both of them and to that building. You know, you might not want to put a Korvax with a Gek unless the bio says that this Korvax works well with Geks or whatever. So it could kind of go quite nicely. You can see there a farmer and a warrior doesn't work too well. However, it might not always be the case. You might have one that particularly works well. So yeah, It's mix and match and trying to get decent combos with your residents and your NPCs to form some sort of kinship across your actual settlement to cause harmony, but not only that, but to up all the stats of what's being sold inside of your marketplaces based on your choices of who takes residency inside of your actual settlement. So here we go, we've got an NPC walking around here. I don't know who this is, but you know, in this new system I will know this is Engineer Gary, and he's an A class, and he's got all these sorts of stats about him, and yes, he helped to liberate the Geks, so he might live well with a Gek, but probably better with another member of Herc, you know, of his own faction. And there's different sorts of buildings that we've got here as well. Now, back inside of White Knight Chronicles, when you actually enter into your settlement, you can set up a room name and what you're hoping to do. So you can put in going on quests, hoping to get a living ship, taking out sentinels, whatever you want to put in here, you can put in what you want. You can always set it as private as well and set up an actual password so only friends or guild members can actually access your settlement and come down to your settlement and actually pick up some mats and some drops from your actual settlement itself. Or go to your actual marketplaces and buy things that are only available inside of your settlement, because perhaps your planet is a certain biome type, which I get to in a moment, that might sell commodities that you just don't find anywhere else, making it so settlements are something that you seek out, especially if they've got some sort of rare mineral that you can't find on other planets or other settlements, making them a must-go-to area, especially if you want to craft something that's really sort of rare. So inside of White Knight Chronicles, you could place down these sort of gem sort of stones, and if you've got miners within inside of your town, they will mine those, and you can actually go over to each of these and occasionally get given materials for free. So in between running quests, you come to each of these stones, and if you see them sparkling, that means that there's some resources that you can pick up. So yeah, placing them right by your missions board really does help other people that come to visit your Georama for quickly grabbing a few materials and hopefully getting a rare grab in between quest running, which means that running quests from your actual settlement is better than running them up in the actual Nexus, because you can do it almost like a guild, and you can build your own little mini fire teams and have these as meeting places for all of your friends to convene. There's also an adventurer's log where you can actually capture how you've been getting on in the world. Now there's a lot of these sort of strange adornments like that sort of creature's skull. We've got one that looks almost identical to it in No Man's Sky. Those sort of accessories boost the stats of your actual Georama, or your settlement in No Man's Sky's case. You can see there that there's a mission board behind these guys right over there with all those sort of bulletins on it, and yeah, you can use emotes, you can form your fire team, and then you can run a quest directly from your actual settlement. And of course you can have this as private, so you're not going to get any interlopers jumping in and ruining your quest, or holding the mission open like we get up in the Nexus. You may already have a fire team in a group of 4, yet the mission that you want could have a person sitting on it waiting for other people to join them, because there is no matchmaking, there is no private instances inside of No Man's Sky right now. But settlements could solve all of those issues if they just take a little bit of inspiration from, say, White Knight Chronicles 2. So of course there's plenty of other games that they could take inspiration from, but I feel White Knight Chronicles had such an awesome system, because yes, you do feel like an overseer, and hunting out rare NPCs becomes part of the actual gameplay to enhance your actual settlement, but not only for your own benefit, but for all of those that visit your settlement. So yeah, perhaps once you've recruited these individuals from a station, perhaps they disappear, so nobody is sharing out codes to go and get all the best NPCs, and everybody's got the same NPCs walking around inside of their settlements. Once you've recruited them, they're yours, they're gone, they're vanishticated. Now with this, we do need a fair few new building types. I mean, if we do have geologists or farmers or whatever, it'd be nice to have farming buildings and geology buildings. Now I have put together videos in the past of new building types that I created in creative mode. So yes, check out the video description for that actual video link. I'll also put a card at the top as well. But yeah, I do like the procedurally generated buildings themselves, but what they actually house inside, perhaps, you know, it's going to actually have rhyme and reason to them, and the NPCs would interact with their buildings more, and everything would be tied together more. And perhaps our mission board could be in the center of the town, you know, that column that we have there, which would be freaking excellent. Now, coming to the actual biome of my planet, you can see here my primary core element is a Megion, a super rare mineral, and also my planet has extremely diverse flora, so perhaps it'd be great for flora type farms, but also a mineral of a Megion if I've got some miners that are skilled enough to extract it, and perhaps you can use those to make some sort of organic pulse drive where you can replace all 3 of your S-Class modules with a singular S-Class module, but you can't put any more S-Classes in there, just to free up some slots, say on your pulse drive, or maybe even your warp engines, or something. Some sort of, you know, biofuel-y type engine. That'd be freaking excellent using the Megion and the rare flora. Anyway, I hope you like this idea. Please hit a like if you do. Until next time, goodbye, and goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe, and I'd like to say a massive, great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers. And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.